opportunities that we have here because I saw opportunities there and how the Cuban people are taking advantage of that. And let me tell you, entrepreneurship is alive and well in Cuba. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I would like to thank you personally for all of you who have updated your endowment agreements with us. Some of you still don't have those documents back to me. We talked about maybe you're trying to get final signatures on that. Check with me if you have a question about it, but don't worry, I will find you. And get those updated. Thank you for doing that. It helps us with our documentation and making sure we're in compliance with everything. So what is the purpose of Match Day? Many of you know because you participated in this before, but let me review it just briefly for you. As you know, in 2012, 14, and 16, we had Match Day, and many of your organizations participated in that. In those years, we raised around $250,000 collectively for your endowment associations, and we're very proud of that collaborative opportunity. The point about Match Day is to create some excitement about your organization and about endowments, to demonstrate and celebrate the collaboration that we have between nonprofit organizations and the Hutchinson Community Foundation. And I mean not only just with us, but each of you collaborating together to provide the best services and opportunities for people in Hutchinson to make this the best place for people to live. One of the reasons why we thought we should do endowment or Match Day again in 2020 is that the awareness of endowments and the importance of endowments seemed to be getting a little faded in people's memory. So we wanted to bring that back into everyone's conscious thoughts. And what is an endowment? As you know, it's a permanent fund placed with the Hutchinson Community Foundation from which your organizations will receive a stream of money forever. Forever. The nonprofit organization, when they create that fund with us, is saying to the community, is saying to all of your donors, we're going to be here. We're going to be here forever. And the power of collective philanthropy, that if these donors want to make sure that the work that you do continues on, then they can help sustain that as well by making a donation to your endowment fund. An endowment sends a really powerful message to your donors. What it says is, we're here to stay. Not only are we here to stay, but we use your donor dollars really well. We're very good stewards of the money that you give to us. By creating the permanent endowment, you remind your donors about that permanent income stream. And most importantly, you give to your donors another tool. It's a tool in your toolbox to talk to your donors about a way that they can give to your organization, how they can help your mission, not only day to day, but also on a permanent basis. Let me turn this over, and do you have any questions for me about endowments? Let me just ask that first. If you do and you don't want to raise your hand, because I can promise you I've been asked that question, but if you're still kind of sleepy and you haven't had enough coffee, but you want to talk to me later, please find me after this, and I'm happy to answer it. As you can tell, I love endowments and I love talking about them. So let me turn this over to Carrie, and she's going to visit with you about the event details.
Good morning, everybody. So raise your hand if you were a part of the last Match Day in 2016, if you were in the room. Okay, we have a lot of new faces in the last 4 years, which is exciting. But those of you who were there, think back to that day in 2016, and if you have a story from that day that you'd like to share, I'm going to come back to in a second. We really value creating an environment that day that breeds connection between each other, between donors and us in the room, between people and this community that we live in and that we love. And we are creating a place and an opportunity to say we care about this community so much that we are going to invest in its future. And we're investing in the future through these organizations that we love. So that's what, when you see the event details, that's what we're trying to create, that spirit of in the room and around the building, so that people feel that intrinsically when they walk in the door and before they walk in the door of the building. But from 2016, an image that stays with me is that I had a 5-month-old at the time, my first child. And this is a long day. This is 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And we, of course, as staff get there at like 5:30 a.m. and set up and are there a longer day. And so it was a long day to be away from a 5-month-old. And my aunt, who watched her at the time, brought her down to Eagle Radio where we were. And she, of course, was taking lots of naps when she was 5 months old. And there's this picture, an image in my brain of Major Mungai, who was with the Salvation Army at the time, holding her sleeping while we were all just, the commotion around the room was still happening and everybody was kind of doing their thing. That to me speaks to the feeling of the village in the room on that day. That we were taking care of each other, that my kid was our kid that day, and I just love that. I think it was personal to me, but I think it speaks for what we're trying to create in the room. So this year, we are again doing 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. This time, we are going to be at the Burt on the corner of Avenue B and Main, and not upstairs in the Crystal Ballroom, but we're going to be down on the main floor in the old apron string space. So right now, you can see that the windows are all covered with plastic, because there's something eventually going in there, but we're going to claim the space for the day and bring it to life, so that we have really good visibility from Main Street and that we can spill out onto the street, which I'll talk about. The sidewalk, not really the street. I'll talk about that in a minute. We will have the option for online giving from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. that day, which Wendy will talk more about here in a few minutes. But in the spirit of collaboration and connection in the room, it's up to you how much time you want to spend there that day, but we will feed you and provide you with drinks throughout the day and places to sit and gather and talk with each other and with donors, so that it's hopefully a place you want to be that day and that donors want to be. We'll also have live radio remotes that we're still working on, but since we won't be on site at a radio station, it's a little bit more complicated than just walking down the hall to get on the radio, but we are working on that. So we've been practicing placemaking as an organization in the community for at least the last 4 years. So we want to practice that with our event, with Match Day. We want to spill out onto the sidewalk and demonstrate what an even more active and lively Main Street looks like in the middle of the day on a Tuesday, what it could look like and feel like. So we are working on the sidewalk, bringing out cafe seating, colorful flowers and games for people to play, just to create, again, a place and space where people want to be and they can interact, and it's driven by people. We are also going to have some dog-friendly, Chris, I'm looking at you, bring dogs. So water, bags for taking care of our dogs, so that it is not just a place where people want to be, but we want to show that all living things are welcome in the environment. We're working on some downtown walking tours, so that people would have different reasons to come throughout the day and can spend some more time together and get to learn more about the history and the architecture and the art that make our place, in particular downtown, really wonderful. And we're working also on partnerships with the food and drink in the area, so around that intersection, bringing them on site, but then figuring out how do we help spur people to go to Anchor and Holly's and Smith's Market and the boutiques, even after they come to Match Day. We will have a planned indoor traffic flow for how people come in the door and kind of give their gifts, but lots of room for that connection and different tables and seating areas, so that people aren't just walking in the door, giving a gift and leaving, that you feel like you are getting value out of the day. So those of you who have had time to think about 2016 in your story, anybody have one that you want to share that stuck with you from 2016?
I think
Yeah.
the drawings that you had, you know,
Oh,
every
yeah.
15, you know, the kids really enjoyed that, I thought.
Yeah.
And the way they wanted to be a part of that, they took pictures all day long with it. So that's pretty
Oh, yeah, awesome.
neat.
Okay.
Involved.
Yeah, so you said the hourly prize drawings that we did was a fun element, and so Dell's going to tell you more about that here in just a second, because she's our rule person. We say, like, anything that has to do with, you know, following rules and technical stuff, we're just going to give it to Dell. You're welcome to share other stories as you think of them, but I'll hand it over to Dell to tell you about the match rules and those prize rules.
Yeah, most of you know that I'm a lawyer, so of course I'm the rule person, right? But yes, that is my job. So some of the match rules that we want, and some of the great things we want to share with you is that the Community Foundation is making $60,000 available for a match for each of your organizations. And this is how it works. If we raise a total of $100,000, which by the way we anticipate and we hope will be at least 3 times that for your endowments. And then one of your organizations, percentage-wise, brings in 10% of that money, then you will get 10% of the prize money. So you would get $6,000. And that is a gift from the community. It's a grant, I'm learning these words. It's a grant from the Community Foundation to your organization to use however you wish. It's not, you don't have to put it into your endowment. If you want to, that's fine. If you want to have it available just to spend on anything you want, it is yours, and to do it with whatever you want to do. In the spirit of the event, will remind you that only gifts from individuals or corporate donors, not from your agencies themselves, count toward the match. Now, a couple of you have been really creative, and we love that. We love the idea that you would think outside the box. But if you bring us a check for your endowment that is from your organization, dated May 5th, then that will count. It will go into your endowment fund, but it does not count toward the match calculation. Okay? So keep thinking creatively. The other rule is that you need to have, only gifts from donors. The checks and credit checks that are made out to the Community Foundation, they have to be made out to Hutchinson Community Foundation, not to your organization, and they have to be dated May the 5th. Now, we also know that you will have some donors that would like to contribute, that would like to participate, but for whatever reason, they're out of town, they can't come the day of May 5th. Yes, you may bring us those, but in the spirit of the event, the idea is to have this place where we all gather together as those who love philanthropy and want to make Hutchinson this great place to live, and that we share that excitement with our donors. So that's the reason why we want you to encourage your donors to come in. If you have donors that are in Cuba and they are anyplace else and they would like to participate in Match Day, they're supporters of your organization but they don't live here in Hutchinson, they can give online. And Wendy's going to tell you about the online giving and what we have available to help your organization promote Match Day and also to secure donations online. We want you to understand that every donation that we receive that day is earmarked for your endowment fund. So just know that that is the day, and that's what we're supposed to, that's what we're doing. That is the point that we are trying to do. Let me tell you a little bit about the prize grants. The prize grants are going to be given during the day, just like we have done before. And what we do is we have donors that will fill out a form and say, I've given to this organization, and they put it in a hat or a big bowl, and we'll draw one out every hour. And if your organization is drawn, then you get $100. So the more donors you bring in, the more likelihood you will get one of those gifts. The other prize that we're going to do, and these dollars are for your organization to use however you choose. We will give first, second, third place drawings or prizes to the organization that brings in the most number of donors, and then the other first, second, third will be to who raises the most in endowed gifts. So not only if your organization brings in a significant portion of the donations for the day, will you get a percentage of the match from the Community Foundation. You will also be eligible for either first, second, or third, $1,500 or $250. And these are funds that are available to you. Let me turn it over now to Wendy, and she's going to tell you about online giving and the cool portal that we have available for you to promote things online to your donors.
Thank you, Dell. So, in the spirit of the day, you've heard that already, right? In the spirit of the day, it's an in-person event, but if people can't make it out, or maybe they don't live here, they live elsewhere, but they want to still give, we do have a really nifty online portal for giving called iHeartHutch.org. And this is what your donors will see when they access the website. As you can see, there are these green boxes, and those are the organizations. And if your donor clicks on that I that you see, that means they've selected that organization to give. If they want to see more about the organization, then they will click over and say the area that says Big Brothers Big Sisters, and that pops up with a profile of your organization. So there are two ways for your donors to give online that day. As I just said, if you want to select an organization from that page, you click on, for instance, the Cancer Council of Reno County, Boys and Girls Club, and you'd select those. Those are the organizations that your donor wants to give to. And then they would scroll down and they would see a checkout button. And at that checkout button, they would be then taken to your very standard, if they've ever bought anything online, ever shopped at Amazon or anything like that, it's a very standard checkout page where you would fill in your personal information, your billing information, credit card info, that kind of thing. The other way that your donor would be able to give is if they opened up that profile of your organization, wanted to read more about your organization, see what your mission is perhaps, or find out about special needs or what have you. Then as you can see over here to your right, there is the add to cart, like adding it to your shopping cart. And again, that button will then take you to that checkout page. So all of you will have access to your profiles, and you can customize those pages as you see fit. Probably this afternoon, tomorrow, you'll be, the folks who filled out the participation agreement will be receiving an email inviting them to log on to the portal here, and they'll have instructions on how to do that. And then they can come in here and outfit it however they wish. You see there's different buttons here. There's a profile, there's photos and videos, there's a toolbox, and you'll also see gift and donor export. Those two things will be available after the event. We won't have that information yet, but those will be accessible for all of you after the event. There's also a spot here where you can add users. So if you're in the room but the person who did not fill out the match day form is not, or who filled out the match day form is not here, and you figure you're probably going to be the person who gets tasked with maybe logging onto this site, you might want to shoot them an email or contact them and say, add me as a user. So if you click on that profile button, you'll see we've taken care of all the essential information. Who you are, accounting information, address, things like that. And that's all filled out. But you, as I said, can personalize it but you don't have to. And that's entirely up to you if you want to personalize it at all. And when I say personalize it, you can fill in the website, any of your website or social network information. You can upload a logo, your organization logo. If you have a specific need or you want to fill in the mission statement or add any other additional information, you can see there are text editors available for you to do that. And all of that will show up to your donors when they go to access the site. But that's all up to you, and again, it's entirely optional. We have the essentials up there. Promotion. How are we going to promote this thing? You all received folders, and within that folder is a sample packet, or a packet of sample promotional information. The first thing on there is a flyer, and it's definitely a sample because if you look at the back, there's a black spot. That is a printing error on our end, so you don't want to use that. So some of the things that we're going to have available to help promote are, one of the things is a poster, and we will be distributing those at locations throughout the community. And even though we're going to be handling a majority of all of the promotion for this event, we're going to be doing the major lifting. And you can kind of see here some of the things that we will be engaging in throughout April to get the word out, to stir interest. The obvious things that you might think of: website, engaging with local media, newspaper, other places like that. Social media for sure. We'll be talking to our donors. We'll be getting on the radio, things like that. But there are things that you all can do in the room to help stir interest and engage your donors and get them interested. We'll make available to you statement stuffers. As you can see, they're about a third of the page. Things that you can put out into your mailings to your donors, explaining the event and when it and where it will be. We also will have a donor letter, and if you want to send something in your newsletters and other types of outreach to your donors, we have that template available. And it's just telling them the details of the event. And you can see in your packet, there's sample examples of those. And here's a look at the giving form. If you can see it, if you can spot your organization, please look at it, and if you see any errors in it or it doesn't look right to you, please see me after the event and we will make the correction, or shoot me an email. But we will have that available also so that you can send to your donors in advance, and they can kind of get an idea of whom they might want to give to, and come in that day with their giving form filled out and their check made out. We also have the flyer. As you can see, it's a front and back. Backside giving you the information. These are things that you can send out or post in your offices or places that you know your donors will be. And again, here's an example of the statement stuffers, or 3-ups, as you might call them. There's different versions. The one on the left would be probably better for black and white printing if color capacity is an issue. So where can I download all these things? Where can I find them? There are two places. You can find all of that stuff on our website, hutchcf.org, under Resources and Forms. So when you go to our homepage, in the top navigation, you'll see the About Us option. You click on that and you scroll down to where it says Resources and Forms. And once you get to Resources and Forms, there it all is. It's right there at the top. And you just click on those things and it will open up the PDF, and you can print them off and use them however you need to. The other place where they'll be available is at iHeartHutch.org, the online giving portal. This is a nice software that we have that makes this available, that we can upload these types of things and make it available to you. And again, when you're logging on to your profile and you click on Toolbox, you can see all of those things are available in PDF form. You just download them from there. So those are the two ways you can access these promotional materials so that you can then send them to your donors. We're also going to have t-shirts. Here's what they look like. Change maker at work, individualized for you. The t-shirts are optional. You don't have to wear them on the day, but we're all going to have them. And each organization will receive one complimentary t-shirt. If your organization would like to order additional ones, you can fill out you should have an order form in your packet. It's also downloadable from those two spots, the websites. But if your organization would like to order additional ones, they're $10. You just need to have them back by March 18th. And again, it's optional if you want to wear your brands, your organization's branded apparel that day, you certainly may. But it is kind of a good promotional opportunity if we're all kind of wearing the same attire. We can make those kinds of social media photo ops throughout the month where we're all in the spirit of match day and we're wearing our t-shirts.
Wendy,
Yes.
any chance to get that logo, if we wanted to combine our logo and match day logo for that?
This one right here that you're seeing? Yeah, this is our social media on
No,
Facebook.
I mean for t-shirts, if we wanted to order t-shirts with our logo, from our logo, but we wanted to add the match day as a special order for us.
Yeah, I think so. I'll put that up on our social media or I'll email it to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Our social media, our website. Beginning April 1st, we will launch the official Facebook event that you all can share to your networks and your different social media audiences. So be creative when you think about how you're going to engage your donors. Here are some ideas that you can use perhaps to mobilize your team and your donors. You can perhaps choose a specific time for your board to meet at the event. Maybe take pictures of that. You can continue to spark social media or press by arriving in a particular way that perhaps relates to your mission. If you're outdoor, maybe you're a trail related, maybe that relates to what you do. Maybe ride bikes that day. Carpool donors to the event. Maybe some people can't make it out or they have limited access. Social media success stories. We were talking in the office yesterday actually about one thing that we all remember from 2016, well I don't remember, I wasn't here, but one thing that everybody remembered from 2016 was students at Partridge Grade School had collected aluminum cans in honor of someone, and they cashed in those cans and they brought them to Match Day and they gave them to the Cancer Council of Reno County. If Cancer Council of Reno County has a photo of that, maybe they could use that as a social media post to help inspire others and to remind people of the spirit of Match Day. And of course, photos of people in t-shirts, if you get those t-shirts, maybe there's donors that you want to profile as a way to inspire others. So I'd like you to all take about 5 minutes at your table and just talk amongst yourselves about things that you might be able to do or creative ideas that you could come up with that would help promote and get the word out about Match Day. So, go ahead.
And I'm surprised that everybody
Social media is the easy concept that comes to mind. We're gonna
Right, I'm glad that your Facebook page. I'm glad that they have a newsletter.
That's easy to say, and easy to do, because it's a liability issue. Bringing those meetings. We have meetings. We talk about they spend a spectacular about that programs and goes back to that liability issue here.
Have you guys have a lot of great Yes. The whole story.
infrastructure.
We do that, so we
Incentives for people.
Yeah.
I was also forcing people about so I was kind of give me this now. Okay. So when we get to that, people were really big. We do it on the side of the wall. It was unanimous. They're like, well, we have people, staff that participate because
Right.
better staff members for it, better teachers for it, better.
Okay, so they're putting
Have 1 minute, be prepared to share your best
What
idea.
was it in 2016? Is it usually about the same amount? Probably. Okay, probably. Sure. Yeah, that was good. We could put out. Follow up with
Okay. Who had a great idea? Be shy. Chris? hear that? Drivers could come by and pick people up. Yes, Starla.
This is part of a memory and also part of what you just mentioned when you talked about the kids from Partridge. But I do remember at the last match day, one of the things I loved was walking in and seeing lots of young people there. Sometimes whole families would come in and give, and I feel really strongly about always trying to make certain that we give young people in our community the opportunity to learn to be philanthropists. So when you're doing fun things, for example, I mean, I just think that that's a really great way to draw in younger people, younger donors, families, and engaging groups like you just talked about, where you mentioned the kids from Partridge.
Right. So what Starla was saying is, you know, children are a great audience and is, you know, instilling that sense of philanthropy at a young age. So having fun things to do for kids, I'll lose my voice now, is something that you can think about. Anybody else?
Well, Carrie said it's going to be dog friendly. Will it be other animal friendly as well? I know Ryan, I was representing the zoo, but Ryan sometimes will bring out one of the eagles and stuff like that. So is there an opportunity maybe outside? Outside. Yeah. But for a photo opportunity and things like that.
That's a great idea. We'll look at that.
Yeah, maybe keep the dogs away.
Yeah, we don't want small dogs.
And maybe keep the pythons at home, I don't know. But yeah, that's a great idea.
Has there been any thought of, with Cinco de Mayo that day, incorporating, especially when you're right across the street from Anchorin, maybe incorporating that cultural aspect of it?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. We'll talk more about that.
Definitely gotta have
We're gonna try to have some mariachi music. That's one of our things. But yeah, we're gonna try to drive people over to the Anchor and incorporate Cinco. Okay, we'll move on. As my voice holds out. So it's important to remember, here's a timeline for all of you to kind of think about as you figure out what you want to do throughout the month of April. Promotions to start on April 1st. And really, we don't want this to get too old. We don't want people to, you know, we don't want to start too early and people to forget about it. So beginning April 1st, I think you can start reaching out to donors, wearing t-shirts if you decide to, sending out letters, things like that. Thank you. And so, you know, what's next for you all? Well, if you're gonna order more t-shirts, get those order forms in by March 18th. Start downloading promotional materials. They'll be available tomorrow at those two sites. If you're going to update your organizational profile at iHeartHutch.org, begin working your plan that you come up with at your organization for how you're going to get the word out, and then start all of that by April 1st. So any questions?
I did
Yes.
have one clarification. On the front page here, it says give online at iHeartHutch.com, but you mentioned that it was
It's
not
a word.
Okay,
Good
just wanted
catch.
to make sure.
We'll fix that.
Are you going to email all of this information to?
The slideshow, you mean, or
Right.
I'll make it available on the website.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and we're recording it too, so. Yes.
The website where we can update our profile and put information, when will that be live?
Well, this afternoon, I think you'll get the email. Did you fill out the, yeah, you did.
When will it be live for our donors to look at or people to just browse on?
Right.
That's available now.
Yeah.
Well, once we give it to you and you update your stuff, they can see it. We won't be allowed to give until that day, and it'll say come back on next day for the online giving will be active, but it'll be viewable.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it'll be viewable even
do it. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yep.
You don't mind getting as a surcharge, or is that?
Right. There, I believe that's, yes, it's a 3% charge, it's a 3% surcharge. And the donor will be given the option of covering that fee for the organization. If they opt not to, then the organization will cover it. Any other questions? So these are some of our frequently asked questions. To whom should checks be written? Hutchinson Community Foundation, dated May 5th. May we pick up donations for donors who can't deliver the gift themselves? We will accept and match all checks made out to Hutchinson Community Foundation and dated May 5th. However, as we've said before, the spirit of the event is to encourage in-person donations. And then of course we do have the online giving portal. And to your question, Ray, how much do the credit card gifts cost your organization? Well, each credit card gift will cost your organization 3%. And then, as I said, the online giving portal will give the donor an opportunity to cover that cost for the organization in addition to their gift. You may be asking, do we have to use the letter that you see provided in the sample packet, or can you write your own? And yeah, you're free to customize it, but just be careful to pay close attention to how we worded things in the sample letter. Well, who should be there on May 5th? Do we have to be there all day? Well, that's up to all of each organization to decide. You know, you can send your executive directors, your board members, development officers, volunteers, clients, whomever. They can come and they can stay all day, or they can come and go. It's all up to you. It's whatever you want to do. Any other questions? Yes, Cal.
Okay, since I'm the rule person, here's my question. When we give the grant to the organization after match day, either from their prizes or from their match, is that something the organization has to report back to us how they use the money?
No, it's an unrestricted gift. No reporting needed on any of your prize grants. Yeah, it's for you to use however the organization sees fit. Any other questions? All right. Well, again, if you do think of something, send me an email. I think I've conversed with probably all of you in here by email. It's wendy@hutchcf.org. You can give me a call, and we will do our best to answer your questions. And we're excited, and we can't wait to see what happens on May 5th. Thank you.